When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. We're listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. This is the Make We Talk program with yours truly, Jeffrey T. This afternoon I have with me attorney at law, Jamaican born attorney at law, Mr. Wayne Golden, an advisor to the Jamaican government. Good afternoon, Mr. Golden.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing wonderful, sir. I'm doing wonderful. I know you're aware of the diplomatical dispute between Jamaica and the United States. Can you give us some more what is going on, sir? Is it that there's a war going on, or is it that there's none going on? Because we're getting mixed signal here.
Well, let me just first correct my introduction. I'm actually a former member of the Jamaica Diaspora board, and also a former member of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. I no longer hold any of those positions, but in those positions, we were tasked with advising the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in Jamaica on issues having to do with Jamaica's diaspora. My specific region was the 13 southern states of the United States of America.
Yes.
The same states that the consulate covers. And in my other role as the council member, I was the appointed member by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the junior minister at the time. So my involvement with Jamaica in terms of advice is manifold. It's not per se, I'm not contracted to currently advise the government of Jamaica. Yes. I keep abreast of all the issues legally and otherwise. And I do have a means of expressing opinions, legal opinions in most cases. In this matter that you're talking about, I've fielded a lot of questions from different media houses regarding the perceived issue, because I use that word because we have not had anything official from either government, either of the United States or the government of Jamaica, regarding the specific issue that's being talked about in the community and in the press.
Yes.
Which has to do with whether Jamaica will accredit a spouse from a same-sex marriage that is going to be posted as a diplomat in Jamaica. Now, under the convention, countries are allowed to choose whether or not they want to accredit a diplomat or proposed diplomat and their family members coming into that country. In this case, it is said that Jamaica has or had made a choice not to accredit the spouse of a same-sex marriage diplomatic spouse coming into Jamaica. And in turn, because Jamaica has refused to do that, the USA in turn is supposedly enforcing their 5-year rule as far as Jamaican diplomats being posted here in the United States and not allowing extensions for those postings. So in other words, once a person's time is up, that 5 years,
yes,
pursuant to their regulations, they will not extend their time. And that is seen as a retaliation for Jamaica's stance on the issue of not accrediting or offering diplomatic immunity to the same-sex spouse of the alleged U.S. diplomat. Now, you must understand that diplomatic immunity really means that the person is not subjected to either the civil or the criminal law of the receiving country, in this case, Jamaica, and vice versa.
Right.
Uh, Not all diplomats fall into this category. There are some who are staff who are not necessarily offered diplomatic protection, but the protection is all encompassing. And so far, it is an issue that is out in the community that is being discussed widely because it impacts, because from Jamaica's point of view, according to what we're seeing and hearing, is because same-sex marriages are not recognized in Jamaica. They don't want to seem to be acquiescing to that kind of arrangement in Jamaica because of, they claim, legal legal reasons, meaning it's not legal in Jamaica, so we're not going to allow anybody to get diplomatic immunity under that guise. But the ironic part is that these persons are still allowed to come to Jamaica, whether as tourists, whether as permanent residents, or whatever. But the marriage is not recognized. So the question comes for most people is this a battle to fight? If indeed the facts are as we have heard them, is this a battle for Jamaica to fight, knowing what the consequences can be? You know, you might see a lot of people losing their visa privileges, like we've seen in the past, or you might see nothing happen, but we know what it can bring in terms of the power of the United States to use its proverbial big stick to convince others. So just to let you know, there are 70 other countries that have the same position that Jamaica has in terms of recognizing same-sex marriages in the diplomatic circle. And it's a question of if Jamaica is going to be used as an example for with wanting their policy of same-sex marriage to be acquiesced to by another country. So the I'm pretty sure that the diplomatic channels are being worked. I often tell people quiet diplomacy is often the most effective. And when you throw these things out into the public sphere, it colors things because then politics comes in and positioning comes in and people take up hard-ended, hardcore positions that sometimes it's hard to back away from on either side.
But Mr. Golden, I am not a member of the diplomatical corps, but I am aware of certain diplomatical, things. If a diplomatical cable is sent from the United States State Department to Jamaica, the public is not aware of it. The question, and maybe you can't answer this question, but I'm still going to ask. But the question that I'm asking here now is, how is it that this end up coming out into the public? If they send 2 diplomatical cables to Jamaica and no response, isn't that, maybe the people will say the Jamaican government is disrespecting the American government by not answering?
Well, from what we've been told, that there was an answer eventually sent, and it was not the answer I think the U.S. wanted to hear from what we're being told. Although these are, they say loose lip, sink ship.
Yes.
This is an example of where you're going to have leaks coming out. These things happen all the time, and it's happened over many years, not only with Jamaica and the USA, but other sorts of diplomatic difficulties. The question really comes about is how our diplomats on both sides deal with it, because it's within their purview. And obviously this is an issue that America cares deeply about. It's also an issue that Jamaica cares deeply about. And the question is, can there be a middle ground somewhere in terms of negotiation? And I'm pretty sure, knowing some of the folks that I know in the diplomatic circles, that they're working to get the situation cured
Mm-hmm.
because it cannot operate as a stalemate because we don't want to see what was happening during the 70s especially and the examples of the difficulties that Jamaica faced because we refused to back down, so to speak. We had this attitude of, well, we punch above our weight.
Right.
Good sense has to prevail on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And also, hypocrisy has to be removed from the whole situation because if you look on both sides of the coin, there's a lot of hypocrisy because on one hand, Jamaica is saying, well, we have these laws in place and we really don't accept this kind of arrangement. But on the other hand, we have Jamaicans who, I dare say, have taken advantage of the same-sex laws here in the United States, same-sex marriage laws,
Mm-hmm.
and all across the world. And I'm pretty sure that among all folks, we have diplomats who may be, gay or otherwise. We don't know because
Yes.
it's not a requirement to declare yourself. But the statistics may bear heavy on that, because the numbers are growing. But the whole idea is we have to treat with this from less of a hypocritical point because they're spending money in the economy of Jamaica. As a matter of fact, I think there's an active campaign to say Jamaica is not homophobic. So you can come to visit, you can come as a tourist, you can come to live.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, in the United States, the U.S. Supreme Court, although not favored by this current administration, has ruled that you really don't have to offer your services to people in same-sex marriages. So there's a dichotomy there that has to be corrected. On the other hand, too, if you look at the political side, if persons are one-issue voters, and what I mean is that somebody latches on to one issue and they don't care about the rest of things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And say the Jamaican population is pretty conservative. People won't think of Jamaican population like that. And they adopt a position here, the voting Jamaicans or U.S. citizens adopt a position that, well, the U.S. is trying to force this onto Jamaica, and we don't have that belief. Will it be that they, I wouldn't say retaliate, but they react by not voting for the current administration?
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of things involved that people have to think about, and there are a lot of points to be made. And what I would ask people is just, to think things through and think of the greater good of any country that you live in.
Yeah, Mr. Golden, if the case should arise where Jamaica decide to have a hard end, decide, hey, we ain't gonna do certain things, isn't there gonna be, as what you said earlier on, like in the 1970s, if that should happen now in 2023 Jamaica, how would it look in Jamaica? I mean, it has greater impact in the sense of Jamaicans not getting certain basic food items?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, there are a lot of strategies that can be utilized.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would hope is that our elected leaders
Mm-hmm.
on both sides of the aisle
Mm-hmm.
would think carefully because we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want anybody to get hurt. And, some things have some far-reaching effect. Just the simple idea of that granting a visa is discretionary on the U.S. side.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several people who are dependent on U.S.-Jamaica relationship to make a living on both sides.
Right.
So, one side obviously is more powerful than the other in terms of economics and all of this. But I think our leaders have a duty to look at all the possibilities and to work things out in the best interest of the country. And as I said before in other interviews, friends of mine who were in the military would say, is this a hill worth dying for? So that has to be the bottom line. And it's hard being in positions of leadership, as you can see, because people can say anything on the ground level who are not tasked with being responsible for a whole country. So I think the confidence that we put in our elected officials and our diplomats.
But Mr. Golden, some people may say, because even I am saying it, why is it that the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, if they have such a thing that comes into as a diplomatical cable to them, why didn't they seek advice from former Jamaican Ambassador Curtis Ward or Aluma Samba or Burchell Whiteman or somebody within the diplomatical circle? I think our minister should have, reach out to people like those and say, hey, we have this on our hand. What should we do? What should be our answer?
Well, I can't comment on who they reached out from, who they didn't reach out to, because I would think that they would have competent people within their ranks and others that they would reach out to. Not necessarily those names that you call, but I would think that any responsible government official or minister in charge would not be making a decision like this willy-nilly.
Right.
And so I wouldn't even look behind their decision or any decision they make to say, why did they consult X, Y, and Z? Because it doesn't mean that those persons would have brought to the table necessarily the solution to the problem. So I would not do that. That would be that's just total second guess. We don't know what the process was.
Yes.
That they used to make the decision, whether they consulted with legal advice, which I would have imagined they would have. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is an attorney herself. So I don't think the decision would have been willy-nilly. I think people would have been consulted. It's just that the end result might not have been what some people would have desired. And hindsight is always 2020. So when you're not in that decision-making chair,
right,
it's very hard to Monday morning quarterback,
True. That's true. Mr. Golden, Jamaica, the United States and Jamaica established diplomatical relationship in 1962. So it's 61 years of relationship that we have. It would be looking so bad if that 61 years of relationship would go down the drain.
Well, let me just say this. I don't forecast gloom and doom for the relationship between the U.S. and Jamaica. The U.S. is Jamaica's biggest trading partner. As you know, we're closest to them in that.
Yes.
And not only that, just look at who sits in the ambassadorial chair for the United States in Jamaica right now.
Ambassador Nick Perry.
Nick Perry, right. So I don't see the doom and gloom. It's a sticky issue, but I don't see it affecting the relationship to the point where, we're going to start seeing embargoes and all of this. It's something that needs to be talked through, and I'm pretty sure that it will. And as you probably noticed, it started off with a bang, and it's now a little whimper.
True.
In terms of the public participation in the discourse. And I think responsible people will realize that these diplomatic difficulties happen all the time. Sometimes we know and sometimes we don't know. But we're hoping that the quiet diplomacy will work this out, and then the people will be satisfied in the end.
Could you say, I don't know, because we don't know if it's an ambassador or a member of the diplomatical circle that wants to come to Jamaica.
Well, I think there was some misinformation when this thing first started and started to be reported on. We currently have an ambassador. We don't hear anything that there's going to be any change.
Right.
I think the word was interchanged, diplomatic staff and ambassador, and I think that was an error. We don't have any indication that the U.S. intends to withdraw Mr. Perry, who is the current ambassador. We don't have any indication that the Jamaican government does want Mr. Perry in place. So I think it was just misinformation at first that kind of carried through. On the other hand, also, they said that they named some folks who would have been affected by that 5-year term here in the United States, including Ambassador Audrey Marks.
And Consul General Mayor.
Yes, but as far as Ambassador Marks, it wouldn't apply to her, the 5-year situation. And any charge of affair, it wouldn't apply to them. So there are categories of people. So I think they even got that wrong in the speculation who exactly the three persons were from the diplomatic corps. So we just have to wait and see. And there are a lot of people whose time is coming due over the next few months to a year. So there will be a lot of people moving in and out. But the one thing we also have to understand that the U.S. also has the right to decide who they're going to accredit to come to the U.S. from Jamaica. So the shoe fits both feet, you know?
Yes, I like how you touch on who is supposed, who is going to, visa not going to renew and so forth. Can you tell us in, who it is and not really who it is? You said it's not the Ambassador Marks or, who you think those people are, or when there's a situation like this of not renewing visas, where does it lie? Who will, in that part?
No, in terms of the diplomatic, it's not a matter of renewing the visa. It's a matter of their time, their 5-year
term limit is up.
Time being expired.
Right.
And usually there's a courtesy extension if the Jamaican government wants that person to remain longer than the 5 years. They'll make that request of the United States. Probably the person is doing an excellent job. They want to keep them in place a little longer. Relationships have developed that they want to maintain. And so it is the U.S.'s option whether they want to extend it beyond the 5 years. But there was understanding made between the countries that it was only going to be 5 years. So we can't name any names because we don't know when certain persons' time expire with certainty. But I'll tell you that anyone that's up on their 5-year mark can expect for their extension not to be granted under the current circumstances, if what we are hearing is correct in terms of the U.S. policy stand. And they had a press conference, U.S. had a press conference about a week or so ago, and they said it's a policy difference, but they have not implemented anything as far as trying to get that policy accepted by Jamaica, or Jamaica's policy accepted by them. So they're saying in a nutshell that we don't have any specific cases that we are pointing to as those persons we're not going to renew their extension. So it's still up in the air. So what I would say is that anybody whose time is up, 5 years is up, can expect for their time not to be renewed.
Wow. It is something that, everybody is before we go for the little commercial break, we're going to go for Mr. Golden. Do you think that the Jamaican government should have made a statement to the people of Jamaica pertaining to this?
Well, it all depends because, some things take on a political air once you do it. And if you are working in diplomatic circles, I think it's best to do the work and let the work speak for itself instead of going out and setting up a untenable position sometimes sometimes people make pronouncements and statements that politically it prevents them from doing what they need to do, on the diplomatic side. So I don't think that it would have been appropriate to bring that matter into the public discourse via the government. It only adds too much color to the situation.
Mr. Golden, can you hold the line for me, please? We'll get you back after this break.
Sure.
You're listening to WZOP 92.7 LP FM.
We're not the airline, but we can.
Welcome back to the Make We Talk program. We're speaking to attorney at law, Mr. Wayne Golden. Mr. Golden, welcome back to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As we're going to wrap up, because I know you're a very busy person and, you came on because we asked you to and, you gave us a little time to come on. What would be your advice if you're advising the government at the moment? What would be your advice to them pertaining to this situation here?
Which one of the government? The government of Jamaica?
Yes, the government. No, the government of Jamaica. Sorry, the government of Jamaica.
Well, my advice would be we have to do what's in the best interest of Jamaica, knowing what we know in terms of the power that lies within the United States. And Jamaica is on a very good growth path right now, and we want to see that continue. But we have to be very technical in how we analyze our laws in Jamaica and how it applies to, per se, diplomats. Because technically, if somebody is accredited under the Jamaican situation, coming in as a diplomat, in our laws, they're not subjected to our laws. So we have to think it through in the way we analyze whether our laws actually prevent us from accrediting somebody from a same-sex marriage. And just like I heard somebody raise the point, there are other situations that are very much more crucial than this that's happening right across the country that has to do with our constitution and laws. You know, because we have to prioritize what's important, and taking a stand sometimes, is good because we've done it all the time. We've done it from apartheid to you name it, after years. But the experience, let the experience come out. The experienced diplomats that we have, I'm confident in them, and I know they know the rules and the laws, and they will seek advice in terms of not only the professionals, but also some of the laypersons who are out there that could probably give them another look or insight into it. So I'm with that said, I'm still confident that we're respected people right across the world. Governments, successive governments and leaders of Jamaica have been on the world stage. They're no strangers to the world stage. And our people should not take this simple, like you just get up one day and just make a decision without thinking. So I'm confident in the abilities of our diplomats from Jamaica to deal with our diplomats from the United States, because it's been done on the quiet so many times without being open. So I don't think people should be up in arms. And because there are a lot of people who say things, but they could not make the decision themselves.
Because a lot of Jamaicans, very worried about the whole situation and say that, if America decide to put an embargo on Jamaica, then God help us.
No, I don't think we're going to get to that. You can give big licks and you can give several small licks, as we say.
Right.
The big lick sometimes doesn't work because I remember Al Sharpton saying that the U.S. Likes to bring democracy to the world. But if you use a sledgehammer and you go in and you try to kill that cockroach with a sledgehammer and break up the person's entire house, they will have no love for you moving forward ever. But if you go in with a different approach and you don't break up the whole house, then the relationship can get better even though you have a disagreement. So, I think Jamaica is mature enough at 61 years old to work this out. We don't know what it'll be yet, but I'm confident as I speak to you today that the situation will be worked out. And so people should not be worried that we're going to see a 1970s style situation with Jamaica again, but learn that the U.S. has ways of convincing, and Jamaica also has ways of convincing, because that's why the diaspora is so important. And it's so important if you're in the diaspora to become American citizens so that your voice can be heard through those representatives you have, even on an issue like this. of course, the ultimate thing is having the power of the vote.
Indeed. It is Jamaica 61 years of independence, Mr. Golden. What do you have to say as a Jamaican born to your fellow Jamaicans back home?
I would have to say, as a member of the diaspora, first and foremost, I would say that Jamaicans have earned respect. You get respect the minute they hear the word Jamaica and
Yes.
Jamaicans, automatic respect. And we have performed on the world stage, especially here in the U.S. I'll point to the latest Jamaican diaspora in the news. And it's the current judge who's going to be sitting at the latest case that Mr. Trump finds himself with, Jamaican born.
But before you say anything, I see where, sorry to cut you, but I see where former U.S. President Donald Trump is saying he will petition to have Jamaican born judge removed from his historic criminal trial.
Well, I'm so proud because the first thing they say is Jamaican born.
Yes.
So they cannot ignore that fact. And that is because we as Jamaicans come here with an attitude that we are going to be successful, we are going to contribute to this society, as well as contribute to Jamaica back home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm extremely proud of Jamaica at 61 years old because we have put so many people on the world stage. And not only that, we're managing our affairs. We're truly an independent country. We have our difficulties, but we've been working through them. We're younger than most other countries who are still in turmoil and war.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. And I must say, Jamaicans have to be proud of themselves and what they've been able to accomplish with what they've had and the struggles that they've been through. But I am confident that in the next coming years, we'll be putting people in so many other different places of influence. You know, not only having a U.S. ambassador who's Jamaican,
mm-hmm.
but having successful Jamaicans right across the world who is going to impact not only the image of Jamaica,
mm-hmm.
but what people's attitudes are towards Jamaica.
Yes, indeed. That was Jamaican-born attorney, Mr. Wayne Golden, Wayne Curtis Golden, born and grown in Jamaica, and a man who, believe you me, when I listen to him on many occasions when he's doing interview, you come away with a sense of, yes, we still have hope in the land of wood and water. When it comes down to the diplomatical circle, we still have hope. Mr. Golden, thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And, again, happy independence to our island home, Jamaica. And, we're proud people, and that will never change.
And don't be a stranger to the Mequitalk program again, Mr. Golden.
Well, all you have to do is send the invitation.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That's Wayne Golden, attorney at law. Go ahead.
Thank you. Take care.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much for coming on. That was Mr. Wayne Golden, attorney at law, speaking about the diplomatical war between Jamaica and the United States. There are so many things going on in the newspaper today, wherein I see today's paper is saying that former U.S. President Donald Trump, he will be petitioning to have Jamaican-born judge removed from his historic criminal trial. Yesterday, we celebrate 61 years of independence in the land of wood and water. You know, we are a proud set of people. We're a proud nation. Despite of what may be going on, despite of the little things that is going on in the land of wood and water, we're a proud set of people. And we're a decisive set of people. No matter what it is, we stand up and we speak out, we stand up and we fight for what is to be fight for. And I'm a proud Jamaican this morning. I'm a proud Jamaican this morning as I sit in the studio here. To all our friends and family throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean, and to all our friends and family who's listening here on WZPP 96.1 FM, and WZOP 92.7 FM, WHOT 1590 AM in Tampa and St. Petersburg, WZPPradio.com. You can go to the app and download the app to WZPPradio.com. That's WZPPradio.com. Anywhere you are in the world, you can listen to us, the voice of the Caribbean. This is the Make We Talk program, the #1 program in South Florida. There are so many things that is happening on the world stage, and Jamaica trying to assist Haiti. Kenya is trying to assist Haiti. Antigua and Barbuda is going to try and assist Haiti also, but we still haven't heard from other Commonwealth nations or other superpower like the United States. We haven't heard from Great Britain. We haven't heard from Canada. As I said last week on my program, that the people of Haiti needs help. And the people of Haiti must get the help that they need. But it cannot be that a few countries within the Caribbean is helping Haiti. It cannot be. And that is why other members of the Caribbean Committee in CARICOM need to step up and try their endeavor best, and they need to figure out a way to get in. Good afternoon, WCPP.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How can I help you, sir? Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, regarding Haiti.
Yes.
Are you aware of how many invasions that have been carried out in Haiti in the past 10 years?
I am aware of it, yes.
Yeah. And those invasions have been disastrous
Yes.
in Haiti. The UN troops brought cholera down there, killed thousands of Haitians. They rape Haitians and impregnate the like a young picnic down there, the Brazilian troops. And they put a puppet government into Haiti. Now, Jamaica, which has the most murders in this part of the hemisphere,
Yes.
right? Somehow seem to can't control its own little parishes, right? And little town and little supermarket size, shopping mall size area.
Yes.
In the capital and outside. We have the garrison communities then, brimming with guns and lawlessness. Right up in the corporate areas, down now into the rural areas.
Yes.
Right? And nothing has been done. The Jamaican authorities, the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, lose how many big important cases to dent the power of the so-called gangs in Jamaica, which are aligned to the political parties, by the way. Now, with all that said, we have lack of resources where even the American government has pointed out that when you call a police in Jamaica, the chances of the police responding to your distress is very, very low to non-existent. Because police tell us that they can't, they're not a car and all kind of story. All right? Having coming with a litany of all these things that's happening in Jamaica, where insecurity is a big thing. People have to be on burglar bars, all kind of sitting, have to run, go home early, get off the street in Kingston and elsewhere. And you are going to tell me that Jamaica is now being used as a puppet to go invade Haiti. Do you know that the Haitian people that they don't want no invasion of them country?
Hold on for me, sir. Hold on for me. I don't think Jamaica is being used as a puppet. The Prime Minister of Jamaica was the one who said that they will assist in security in Haiti. Now, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres went to Jamaica rather, and have a discussion. CARICOM have discussion about Haiti in Jamaica. What we must say,
you're a more sophisticated man than that, my brethren.
but hold on for me.
You know what is called geopolitics
Indeed.
and how these games get played. Jamaica, you know that Jamaica has been used as a puppet to invade Haiti before under the Ciada regime. You know that.
I mean,
So then why you going on like you don't know what's going on now? So Jamaica just jump up with all the litany of problems I just put on the table that Jamaica is facing. And the Prime Minister of Jamaica just jump up and say he want to go militarily intervene into Haiti. For what reason? What is the purpose? Whose agenda is he carrying this thing out on behalf of? Huh? This is how they use a little small country.
yes.
Why are you advocating to invade Haiti when Haiti they are not even allowing the Americans are not allowing them to have an election to remove the puppet man who is in there now as Prime Minister? The same one will come cock up in foot on Jamaica, who is implicated. People are alleging that he was part of the assassination of the previous president.
Mm-hmm.
The Haitian story is mixed up on a lot of Haitians because you're not talking to Haitian. You don't know no Haitian people will live a Port-au-Prince or Petitvian and whatnot. You don't know no Haitians down there. Why you not talking to them? Why you asking the same government put out the little phony statement about, oh, we're going to help? You're going to help by invading Haiti again? To do what? What you hope to accomplish? You know, say an invasion is violence, my brother. And more violence you going to put on the poor people in Haiti. While meanwhile you are manipulating the place, the people in can't have an election down there because you don't want the people in place to control their own destiny. You remember, say them go down there and check out the president, the popular president, out and dead and can go fling him down in Africa. You have a memory box or something. Yeah, man, get up on you that jump up on the table. Oh, ruin and try come. Come on, man.
No, but listen to me. Hold on for me, sir. Hold on for me, sir. Listen, if CARICOM have a meeting in Jamaica in assisting Haiti, and if the Prime Minister of Jamaica decide to take Jamaican troops into Haiti, what you said earlier on, what does the Prime Minister intend to achieve in that? But what we must ask as Jamaicans, what has the Prime Minister of Jamaica asked the United Nations for to assist Jamaica in this crime situation we have in our country?
Listen, we know, here some years ago, I was coming up on a flight from Kingston. I ran into Dr. Trevor Monroe.
Yes.
He was then an advisor with the Pakistan government. And then tell me, I was saying to him that, but you guys going on like you don't know where the guns coming from. They're coming from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The same shipping company. How much sanction in a place on the shipping company? That's if you make one more gun come through in a shipment into this place, you're not doing business with Jamaica. Him say, oh, going up to Washington to tell them that this, that, and the other. But listen, brethren, we know it's a bigger thing going on, you know. Mm-hmm. Do you know that they have flooded the entire Caribbean countries with weapons? With the exception is Guyana. But in Belize, quiet little places like Belize and, you know, Trinidad was a place when I used to go to Trinidad, not one murder.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe that Trinidad now flooded with guns, my brethren. The same thing they're doing with Jamaica, they do with Haiti. Then they flood Haiti with guns. Them see all the remember all the news thing that
Let me ask you something. In the time we have here, do you think that Jamaica is knocking behind Haiti's back door?
that what?
Do you think that Jamaica, the current crisis in Jamaica, do you think we're knocking behind Haiti's back door?
Yeah, we could and I don't like to use Haiti in a negative way.
No, I'm not.
Like Haiti.
No, I'm not.
Every country, and listen, remember, every country has its own unique geopolitical situation.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that they made undermine Jamaica back in the 70s, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why Jamaica have all of the world gun then. You remember them never give up one of them M16 that came down to Jamaica?
Mm-hmm.
Them still in Jamaica, right? Yes.
So hold on there. You're saying to me that when the commissioner of police said that they find guns, it's not really guns they're finding?
No, that is that the place is awash. Listen, the place is Jamaica now is awash with both legal guns and legal acquired firearms.
Yes.
Of all sorts. You understand? And the Jamaican subculture, which believe in this gun thing too. Because, we sang them glorified and we used to watch a lot of cowboy movies. And, we hear about the parties and so on and so forth. We know that played a significant influence in our country. However, what is most problematic in the country is that because our social structure has been declining. So you have family situation, family dynamics decline, family gone foreign, leave young people down there. You understand? Then we are being inundated with a lot of violent video games, films, all kind of story going on. And we know these things impact our thinking, our children, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of things that we can do. The government has largely stopped helping from the Manly days, from the end of Michael Manley, and the help and the self-reliance. All of that done now in Jamaica. It's every man to himself and God for us all. That's essentially how Jamaica. And some people are having a very rough time to do anything. We know that our children are out of control. In Montego Bay, in 2015, 16. Yeah. 1 year alone, my friend, there was 350 something Jamaicans murdered in a little Montego Bay. You understand?
And that is why I asked the question, because we don't have enough time here, sir, but you can call back even tomorrow. I asked the question, if we have a Minister of National Security and the Deputy Prime Minister, also the Deputy Minister of Defense, can't even control the crime in his constituency, how can he control the crime in Jamaica?
Yeah, but him come up there and tell us there's a little puppetry going on in one now, because we know who is behind it.
Yes.
It's the U.S. The U.S. is behind this invasion, but them don't want to make it look so naked.
Right,
Them are hard behind the little 5,000 people defense force in our country, where we need them to do things in the island. Some of them bad roads, they were supposed to have them build up some of them roads.
Right.
Some of them roads. We have them now at all, but we are going to send them go in there. We know who are going to pay for that.
That's true.
You know,
and
fight off with black brother them in a Haiti.
Yes.
Them put in them business.
Right. So
can help them.
Can you call back in tomorrow? Thanks for your call.
Yes, man. Appreciate the dialogue.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much for calling in.
Man.
You know, this is where we say so long from here for another day on the Make We Talk program. It has been a good Monday. You know, we celebrate 61 years of independence in Jamaica, and today has been a very good day, very good discussion. This is where I say so long from here. Until you hear my voice again, I'm Jeffrey T, signing off.
living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Another conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark the talk and you will see conflict solver A to Z. Make we talk, yeah. Oh, make we talk.